Good evening, everybody. And yes, I am alive. I am still here. And I am glad to be back. Now, I'm going to be making a few announcements, but I'm also going to provide some updates about where I've been, what I've been doing, and what I have planned in store for the future. So, without any further ado, let's get to it. So, let's answer the obvious question. Where have I been? Let's see. I have been working. I am currently a instructional aide at Sacramento Charter High School, where I am currently assisting in geometry. The intent for me is for next year for me to be working as a student teacher before becoming a fully credentialed teacher in social sciences, preferably in history, government if available. So that answers that question. And that's also the reason why I haven't been doing anything on YouTube, really since that famous, or in some circles, infamous video that I did last year with the MOA. The video that is, What is Hotep? Now, that video blew up in a way that I wasn't necessarily anticipating, but I'm glad that it did because it spurred some interesting conversations and filled my whole box with hate and trolling, which has actually just been really entertaining, in all honesty. See, nothing on the internet really affects me. If you don't have thick skin while doing this and you're not anticipating hate, then you're just wasting your time. For me, it's just more hilarious. Like, I don't know. I've been called a coon. I've been called the white man's bitch. Apparently, I got no Vaseline into doing this, by white pseudo history. I allegedly work for triple parentheses them, right? So apparently, I'm getting Jewish money that I'm not really seeing, and that really pisses me off because a brother got loans and bills to pay. Like, come on, like, my guys, where we at? So, you know, but I've also been asked some pressing questions about all these things. So, one, well, actually, I can kind of narrow it down to three questions, and that is, one, are you going to do a follow-up video? Two, are you going to debate these folks? And three, what do you have planned beyond Hoteps? Are you ever going to talk about anyone other than Hoteps? So I'll answer the first question. Is there a follow-up video coming? Yes. Now, the reason why a follow-up video hasn't been made is really simple. The Moa and I live about several thousand miles apart, so we live in two different time zones. In fact, right today, as of this recording, it is Thursday, May the 24th. In New Zealand, it's about May the 25th. So you can kind of tell, right? Like, he's on a completely different time zone. I'm in a completely different time zone. We try to work it out when we can. And because now, when I made that video, I was unemployed, right? So I had all this time to basically be on the internet, while job searching and doing all this other stuff. But anyone who's worked in education will tell you that it is much more than just a full-time gig. You are working at it almost 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, excluding summer, I guess, and with really shitty pay. So, and of course it's a very emotionally taxing job. So, finding the time to really do that, and especially during my first year as an educator, it's been difficult to say the least. And if you're wondering what that sound is in the background, that's my cat Leah. She's just, I've already fed her. I don't know. She just wants more attention, but I have to ignore her. Sorry, Leah. All right. So there is a follow-up. There are some follow-up videos coming through. We're going to be doing a video on our favorite Dr. Umar Johnson, Tariq Nasheed, and maybe a few others. I definitely want to get into the Nuwabian cult, who I didn't mention in my first video, and because they are basically the far religious extreme of the Hotep ideology, or what we refer to as Hotep ideology. Second, am I going to debate these Hoteps? The answer to that is yeah, sure, I'll debate these fools for free as soon as I'm done debating the climate change folks, the flat earthers, the anti-evolutionary folks, and the Christian fundamentalists, and the alt-right. which is basically going to be never. So, here's my philosophy on debate. I understand that there's this constant need for Hegelian synthesis. That is, the ideas that you have two opposing ideas, and then through debate, you come to some sort of conclusion that maybe works between the better of the two. That's the bare bones version of it. Other philosophers can explain that a lot better than I can. Here's the thing, though, and I'm going to use this particular example. Bill Nye versus Ken Ham. Right? Bill Nye, one of the greatest scientific educators of all time, versus Ken Ham, a Christian fundamentalist who believes the Earth is 6,000 years old, hates evolution, abortion, and is just basically all around batshit crazy. Now, I am in no way, shape, or form comparing myself to Bill Nye, but I am comparing the Hoteps to Ken Ham because they are just as batshit insane. Like, how am I supposed to actually debate somebody into convincing them that white people do not have tails? How am I supposed to convince them that the sun people versus the ice people is not a real thing? And how am I supposed to convince someone that I'm not being paid by Jewish money, right? That doesn't make a whole lot of sense in and of itself, okay? It is, to me, a considerable waste of time and resources to debate folks who have no real understanding of reality, especially for free, right? It's bad enough that American media practices, particularly CNN, will entertain people who deny the existence of climate change, which is in effect denying science, which is basically denying reality, with people who actually know science, right? That is a complete waste of time. It would be a complete waste of time to me. I didn't get into this in order to do debates, on YouTube. That's, not really interesting to me. I'm just interested in the history, the education, and honestly, the jokes. So, that brings me to my third point. What do I have in store for the future? Great news, folks, for those who've been wondering. As I've mentioned earlier, a new video will be coming out pretty soon with me and the MOA collaborating on another video essay. The last video essay we did, or the only video essay we did, actually got 36,000 views. Which is the most he's ever had on his channel, and that's, including videos on the alt-right with Jared Taylor, Richard Spencer, Kevin McDonald. But the Hoteps are just really, really fascinating, and, they are tons of comedy, despite their very venomous politics and the fact that, they perpetuate, transphobia, homophobia, and misogynoir within our community, as well as, really toxic conservative politics and, retrograde ideas of capitalism, and also really strange, and really dangerous anti-Semitism. So, despite all of that, they're actually really fascinating. I think they're way more interesting than the so-called intellectual dark web, who are just a bunch of boring herbs. And as a result, that got a reaction, both positive and negative, which was the intent. And, so we want to get back to that, except we want to narrow our focus more on specific individuals, and that's the plan. But beyond that, my other big announcement is that I am going to relaunch, I'm going to relaunch my YouTube channel coming this summer. And this YouTube channel, I'll be doing video essays of my own, where I will not just necessarily be looking at Hoteps, although they will be coming up probably quite a bit, but I will be examining my various passions on history, literature, politics, all through video essay formats. And this is what I have been asked to do by plenty of the homies. I have been advised to do by some of my colleagues, and this is generally where I want to put a lot of my energy to, especially the energy that I have when I have free time. So that's the intent. That's what I want to do. That's the announcements I wanted to make. So please stay on the lookout for that. I am intending to launch this channel by June. I just have a new webcam. I have a microphone, and then of course I have some really good video editing software, or at least some decent video editing software. So I should be able to get started on this within a month. I'll be examining various topics within Black history, Black literature, but not solely Black history and Black literature. And then of course, political thoughts. So, yeah, keep on the lookout for that. But if anyone else has any questions, write so in the comments. DM me on Twitter or at me on Twitter, David A. Pino at Twitter. You, excuse me, just recovering from the allergies too. So that's been where a lot of my energy has been at, trying to repel this menace. So that's where I'm basically at. Yeah, check me out on YouTube if you're already here. I will hope to see you all soon. And also to all the hoteps out there, please keep watching. I hope I'm occupying your so-called consciousness. I'm altering your consciousness to a higher state. And no, I'm not being paid by the Jews, but if anyone does want to pay me, hey, go ahead, I guess. But all right, everyone, take care, and I hope to see you all soon.